Okay. Well, it's okay because it automatically records on YouTube. So
We are live.
Oh, we're live. Yes, we are.
Yes, we will have backup on YouTube, so we're
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
So
So I have my post-it. So
it
I have my Friday post-it.
That's it. It is Friday, April 22nd, 2022.
I was about ready to think it was Monday again. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just, maybe I just stopped caring about what time it is and everything. So I don't know why today feels like Monday, but no, it is Friday according to my post-it. So we're good.
All right. Well, here's our intro now that we've got our bearings.
Right.
Hello, comic book readers and collectors. My name is Randy Zimmerman, and I'm here to introduce you to the Fellowship of the Indies. The Fellowship is a group of creators that came together for a promising business deal that fell through. But don't worry, because what came from the deal were 9 spectacular comics from diverse genres and creators. All 9 books are printed and ready to go, along with metal bookmarks, retailer levels, and even month 2 books, which are being specially made for a short period. Just know that by pledging, you'll be getting 9 great comics, 32 pages of book, for the awesome price of $25 plus shipping. That's over 250 pages of incredible indie comics. So secure your copies today.
Hey-yo, and
hey,
we're back.
Hey,
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And yes, just so everybody knows, Fellowship of the Indies, it's still on Kickstarter. The best deal in crowdfunding you can get today. Like the man said, 250 pages for $25. Or if you prefer a more traditional crowdfunder, you get 1 book and 8 for free for $25. So there you go. So good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Good morning, the people watching. So let me get this officially started. Hello, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for my funny animal fantasy adventure, Tall Tales, and my medieval fantasy soap opera, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. You can read both my comics online currently at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and eagleworks.com, EGOWRKS. And you can check out my videos on how I make all these comics on YouTube at Daphne Lage, Lage Art. And speaking of YouTube, if you are joining us from regions beyond, from Twitter, from Facebook, from wherever you saw these links, come on over to YouTube, come on over to the Ragin Network, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, get notified every time we go live with a show. And show the YouTube algorithm some love. And join our sexy people in the chat. It's the sexiest people, the sexiest chat that you will ever see on YouTube. So join them today. So Nita, tell the people who you are.
My name is Nita Lanning. I am a writer, vlogger, blogger from Southeast Louisiana. I am CEO and executive producer of the Ragin 2 Broadcast Network.
Oh, there we go. So yes, just so I can show everybody, yes, this is how stupid I am. I have my post-it that says Friday on it to remind me that today is Friday. Because for some reason, it feels like a Monday.
It does.
It does. So today I have a lot of stuff to do today. I have to go to IKEA and pick up legs for my desk. So I gotta fix my desk so I can pull it away from my janky ass wall here. So finally, when the guys come to fix it, they don't have to. Things are easier to move around than the way they are now. Because right now I have a cabinet that's completely rotted to the floor because of all the flooding that's been happening in here. So
that sucks.
Fun times. But because of that new wall, I finally found a new chair for myself.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was watching someone else doing an Animal Crossing live stream. And I really, really liked their chair. They had one of those racing gamer chairs type thing that I really liked. So I was able to find the website because luckily they embroider that on the top of the chair. And they had a chair that it's like, I go, that's it. That's the chair I need. It's like, it has lumbar support. It has neck support. It has everything support because my hips are hurting from all this work that I'm doing. Because this is, I swear, this is what being an artist is like. It's just like, oh, great. It's like we have everything hurting, except we're not athletes. But everything hurts anyway. So we're always furries. Yes, even if they deny it, everybody has a persona. So I'm looking forward to yeah, exactly. I am looking forward to the changes that are happening in the office. So I think
you wanted them anyway. Now you're just being forced by nature.
Right,
to
exactly. Absolutely. Yes. We're suspecting that it's an issue with a gutter that's literally feeding into it's either broken or something, and it's feeding into the office, which is why I get so much water all at once whenever it rains. So hopefully it won't be too traumatic. So what's going on with you, Nita?
Just working on network stuff, working on some new shows that we want coming up, or we have coming up. Got an awesome announcement. C. Michael and JD Calderon will be doing a crowdfunding classified show for us, but I'm kind of trying to keep the guys limited to 2 shows a week. So we've taken C from Zimcast and we are adding Christy Shin to the mix.
Yeah, I know.
So that is going to be
very exciting. That's going to be exciting. It's like, it's like I really, I caught them on the Zimcast the other night, and their rapport, I really, really dug their vibe. Christy,
straight insanity,
Stone, and Randy. So I'm really excited that that's going to be a regular thing now. So so if you're curious how that's going to come out, so you can check out
Tune in
Wednesdays 9 p.m. And join the fun there. We have a lot of organization going. Who knew running a YouTube channel would be so?
It's chaotic,
daunting.
It's work, but you know what? And growing so fast, really puts the pressure on. So you guys pardon our progress as we shift people around and possibly show times. Just bear with us because baby stepping.
Right. It's like we're going to have to get one of those animated GeoCities banners,
right,
under construction with the flames and those animated GIFs that everybody had, back in the early days of the internets. So, yeah.
That's pretty much it. Oh, motherfucking PayPal.
Oh,
finally.
PayPal saga.
Finally. Taken care of. I was able to touch my money yesterday.
There we
and
go.
I immediately moved it all out of my account. And then they sent me a message. Then they sent me a message and they told me, hey, your funds are going. You fucking right they are, PayPal.
Right.
Fuck you.
Yeah. No. It's like
morning,
you were having the George. Speaking of Georges, because you were having a hell. Like they locked your account and all. all because of a refund, right?
That's all it was.
Yeah, you did a refund so that you can issue an invoice, and PayPal freaked out.
Oh yeah, they
And
flipped it.
locked your account. I mean,
And then the link, okay, so they send you through, you have to go through the bot process first. Hey, Christy, we just talked about you. They blocked it, and then they'd send me to where I had to go through a bot, and the bot would tell me to go to the resolution center to find the links I'd need to send them whatever they needed to verify the account or whatever. Well, I'd get all that information, and I'd go over there, and I'd click the link, and the link was broken.
Right. And of course,
and it was just the same over.
Yeah, and because it's a bot, you ended up in a loop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. And so finally I just started digging, and I found an old PayPal 800 number out of Omaha, Nebraska, and I called it and actually got through to somebody in corporate. No, ma'am, I did not use it in vain.
Right. There we go.
And within minutes, she's like, "This is not my field, but if you disconnect, here's my extension. You call me right back." And she sent me to this other lady, and within 5-10 minutes tops, my PayPal was back to normal.
Real live people. I swear, it's like these companies, they run their shit on purpose like that.
They do.
You know,
because they want people to cut their losses and be like, "Oh, well, shit, I can't get
well, I guess this money is ours now."
And I'm like, it will not happen. I will fight you.
Yeah. No, Christine. We were talking about how excited we are that you'll be joining us regularly on Wednesdays.
Yes, we were stoked.
So yeah, so we're very excited. Actually, a lot of people in the chat are excited at that. So welcome aboard to the House of Crazy. Well, actually, that would be Sam's show.
Yeah, we don't know what this is.
Right, we don't know what this is.
A mess.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to the shit show.
Right. So yeah, well, at least that's one thing out of the way. At least you don't have to worry about that anymore. So remember, people, PayPal is not a bank. It's convenient, but it is not a bank. And do not keep as minimal money as possible in there. Just enough that like you can still do stuff with it. But if something were to happen to your account, it wouldn't be like drastic, or dire for anybody. But yeah, it is not a bank. Do not store money in PayPal. So that's so that's the important thing for everyone to know. So so today I have a little show and tell. I got another I got another unboxing. I got another unboxing today. Yeah, it's like it's a Kickstarter, because when I got it, I actually forgot what I had ordered. And it was just like, "Oh, what is this? What is this?" And it's like, it's like Correos de España. And I go, "Oh, did I ask for anybody to send me something from Spain? I don't remember." Yeah, because I got family all in Spain, so I was sitting here not being able to remember what this was. And then I noticed the logo on the side, and I go, "Oh, this is a Kickstarter. This is a Kickstarter." So let me see. So I want to try something a little bit new today. So I'm going to add in an extra camera today, so we can take a better look at it. So this is a Kickstarter. Yes, from Spain, Palma de Mallorca. And actually, this is a lot smaller than I had expected, but I don't know. I think it's a fun little thing. So it's kind of like an animation kit that's based on a book that came out. Wow, it's like decades ago. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still in print. It's by Ollie Johnson and Frank Thomas, called The Art of Animation. These are two of the last 9 old men that worked with Walt Disney, and they created this gorgeous book about their entire process on how to animate and all of that. So there was an artist who did kind of like a mini version. He's an actual animator, and he did a mini version of the basic principles, the 12 basic principles of animation. And he did it, if I understand correctly, he did it as a flip book, in flip book style.
Nice.
So yeah, so as you can see, it's a small book. It's supposed to be like kind of like a reference. And oh, look at how tiny these are. Look at these. So it's actually like two flip books. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, the packaging is really interesting. So yeah, so it comes in this this sleeve. And let's see. Oh, look at that. And then so if you're studying animation, they even have these little, I guess if you cut them out and you make little like dice. So if you're like indecisive as to what you want to do, you roll your little animation dice, and then it's like you study, and then you study what pops up. So here you have slow in and out, staging, squash and stretch, anticipation, pose to pose, overlapping. This one has appeal, exaggeration, arcs, solid drawing, secondary action, and timing. And I thought that this was like a really important piece of reference to have, because especially now that everyone is using, well, a lot of people, I don't know about everyone, it's like a lot of people kind of use like flat animation, but it's kind of like, it's not like, I don't know, it's kind of like more like puppetry. I think John Celestri said it was more like puppetry rather than animation, because they're just moving little shapes around rather than actually using what this book talks about, the actual 12 principles. And let's see how this works. So they look like matchboxes. So here is, okay, so this is the first book. Okay, oh, that's volume 2. So let's start with volume 1. So the orange one is volume 1. So this one has squash and stretch, anticipation, and staging.
It's the best way.
Yeah. And I think, all right, so what it does is that, oh, okay, so you have the principles in the book. So here you have everything, you have an explanation. And then what it does, like you flip it, and then
nice,
it gives you an actual example as to what it is those principles are. Remember when we used to make these in school,
Oh yeah, and flip it and do it again.
Yes, and this one has, all right. And if you do flip it, you have pose to pose, overlapping, and slow in and out. Again, it explains, and then it's like you flip it to kind of get that, so that you can study the actual like individual drawings. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so here's the second one. So this one is arcs, secondary action, and timing. And again, they have the instructions, and then we'll just there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, and see, in the back is exaggeration, solid drawing, and
me too.
Yeah, and I mean, look at that. I mean, that's so.
Remember when they put those suckers in Cracker Jacks? Like Cracker Jacks had actual prizes. Now they've got like those fruit stripe gum tattoos.
Right. No, it's like remember. Actually, it's like I'm pretty sure it's like they used to have like these small books that would have the little animation in the corner. I mean, I don't remember if they were like Scholastic Book Fair type things. Okay, so which one is this? Okay, a blank flip book. Okay.
Oh, you get to make your own.
You get to make your own.
Oh, you should totally do some action, Daphne.
Yeah, really. Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that. So you can practice. So here is literally a blank flip book. So here we have, and then it's like, here we have the principles again.
You know what we want to see in this book, right, Daphne?
Oh my goodness. It's like the mascots, right? Look at that. So, and and that's kind of the reason why I picked. So there you go. So we can build a flip book. That was kind of the reason why I got this, because I have been wanting to like play around with animation for a while, and John Celestri has been like, do it. And yeah, and I figured that this would be kind of like a neat shortcut for me to like, okay, it's like, what do I have to like really look at? Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, well, at least, and the thing is though, and Mike can say that too, because he did a short animation.
One side for this show and one side for House of Bob.
Yeah. Well, well then. What is it? To quote an old Robin Williams skit, it was light, it was dark, it was light, it was dark, it was light, it was dark. So yeah, so this is so I'm not sure if maybe if you go, I think the name of the campaign was Blanco. I mean, it's like Blanco is, I guess, Blanco just means blank in Spanish, but right, but let's see. So the name of it is Flip Boku. Flip Boku. So you can find that, you should be able to find it on Kickstarter still. I don't know whether they have like a separate store. If you can, so you can pick these up yourselves, but oh yeah, here we go. So animated by Raul Garcia. So that's, I knew that there was a, it is, I'm so used to people using like goofy pseudonyms on YouTube that it's like, oh, his name must be Blanco. No, asshole. It's just blank pages in Spanish. so yeah. So that's okay, look at that. And it just slides together in this nice little kit. But I'm gonna keep the box though, because I think it's
Morning, Nick.
It's a nice way to keep everything kind of neat and together, because it just fits kind of perfectly like that. So so there we go. So that's what that's my my Kickstarted for the day.
HR is being distracting this morning.
Oh no, because
it's like, aren't you supposed to be nocturnal?
Yeah, exactly. Hamster resources. Well, you know what? It is the same thing like the parrot. It's like they go, oh, they're online now. I should start acting up. Although he's he's not acting up right now. So okay, so there we go. So I hope that was interesting.
Morning, Fisk.
Oh, good morning. Hello. Dr. Squatch the soap. Yes, and that is Dr. Squatch. Dr. Squatch. That's a soap that JD buys on the regular when he can. And it's actually the packaging is really, really nice. I mean, I have to give a lot of like these independent these independent companies, like they're really putting a lot of effort in their packaging, and the Dr. Squatch ones are really nice. Also, they're very nice soaps too. So look at the Dr. Squatch. Not sponsored, but we should be. Call us. Oh my goodness. So that's what I've been. So that's what I got this week as well. I'm gonna start.
Oh my God!
What happened? Oh, the soap. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, it's human resources too, because we give that many fucks.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Oh. Is the
yeah, he's making his cameo.
He's making his rounds. Yeah. He's doing the. Making sure we're following all the rules. So speaking of Kickstarter, let's everybody put their thinking caps on. So there was this question that I saw the other day. And the thing is, though, this has been a question that's been popping up for a while now. I mean, pretty much ever since Kickstarter. I mean, Kickstarter's been around for like 10 years or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. So, and this question has been popping up since it was founded. And there just comes a point, especially now, that when anybody asks this question, I immediately think that they're being disingenuous with it. Well, it's like you can't just show up here.
You have to work, yo.
Yeah. It's like, we expect, you're a sexy chat, but you have to work the chat part too. So the question is that I saw is are creators depending way too much on Kickstarter for income, for their income? And I think in and of itself, it could be just a rather simple, just a rather standard question. But like I said, it's like I've been seeing variations of this question since Kickstarter started. And by now I'm very suspicious of it because usually that question is asked with, for lack of a better way of explaining it, because it sounds almost like a grade school schoolyard shit. But the thing is, that's kind of where it comes from, is that it's like, oh, you depend too much on Kickstarter. It's like, if you really could make money, you could be doing it in real ways, and that's kind of how I feel the question is usually asked, if not outright phrased. Like in the beginning, it's like there was like this whole thing where it's like, oh, I wouldn't do Kickstarter. That's begging. If you can make real money on Kickstarter, you could sell your stuff to a publisher, and it was kind of like a little snooty like that, like, so this is kind of like my take on it. So the thing is that nobody asks you, whatever job you have, nobody asks you, don't you depend too much on your job?
Yeah, right.
It's like nobody asks you that. Yeah, it's like who it's like, Mike Jimmy, do you depend too much on your job? Everybody in the chat, it's like, don't you think you would depend a little too much on your job? I mean, that's such a stupid question, right? I mean, it's like no normal person asks that question. But for some reason with Kickstarter and in certain cases, people who make money on YouTube, like for some reason, because of the fact that it is online and we can do this from home, that
I don't think I can think of a single creator that does depend on Kickstarter.
Right.
Like, I mean, not to sell, yeah, maybe get it out, right. But like Mike Jimmy said, like you barely cut even.
Right.
I mean, there's the exception, but not often.
Right, but there's always the exception. Like there's always the 1 or 2% that are always going to benefit greatly from a new platform. But but like I said, it's like, I think it's also like the people who do YouTube videos and tries to like the people who don't use it are the ones who don't understand it, and then they're the ones that are asking dopey questions like this. Well, why don't you go get a real job? It's like, well, what makes you think that this isn't a real job? That it's like that this isn't real effort. I mean, even if you're not making money off of it, or making a lot of money off of it, there's still real effort into supporting a YouTube channel, into running a Kickstarter. I mean, it's like, look, I'm still exhausted from the effort of what felt like a 3-month campaign, because technically I started I started promoting Eagle Raven in January, and then ran the campaign in March. And now we're in April, and boy, are my arms tired. Actually, it's more my lower back, my hips, but it's like, and the thing is though,
right.
It's like, it's not that I depend. Now, here's the thing. Kickstarter and crowdfunding in general made it a lot easier for everybody to finally get their projects out in a way that we have direct access to an audience to our audience. We don't need to depend on Diamond. We don't need to depend on begging our local comic book shops to pick up our stuff. We don't need, you know, it's like, so for a fee, for a percentage, Kickstarter created a platform where it's like, okay, we can get the audience, you supply the content, you know, and it's like, hey, it worked. You know, I mean, it's like I think that we only started to, I guess, like bloom again as a comic book as a comic book publisher, you know, with Eager Raven, with Tall Tales, with the Oswald Chronicles, because of crowdfunding. You know, because, you know, it's like the other avenues, they're tougher to massage into a usable system. And also what I found with crowdfunding is that, for me, at least, it's definitely a more efficient use of my time when it comes to promoting and making my books and selling them or whatnot, as opposed to going to a convention, as opposed to trying to get my stuff into Diamond, which, you know, Tall Tales is banned from, by the way. So it's not like that option was there for me anyway. So, you know, it's like, you know, and I've already done the thing where it's like I spent an entire week calling up every single comic book store in the tri-state area in New York City. You know, I called up, it must have been like 30 or something stores. And you know what I got out of that? I got probably as many polite fuck offs as I did for each store. You know, like only one store even considered consignment, but told me told me straight off, well, we can put your book in our store, but you're the one that's going to have to handle the inventory. What? Like I don't keep track of anything.
Okay. So
it's like, so what the fuck? So, you know, and then it's like they're all the way in Brooklyn too. So it's like, no, fuck that shit. You know, it's like I have to do your job too. So yeah. So it's like, no, it's like, so yeah. So it's like, so I had all these stores telling me, like I said, they either gave me a polite fuck off, or they said, are you in Diamond? No, they were not interested. So yes, I did. Yes, I did. And they said, if you're not in Diamond, we're not interested. You know, so yeah, there was not one store that I could get my books into. So it's like, yeah, so Kickstarter comes along, right? And all of a sudden I have access to all these people who want to buy my book directly from me. All of a sudden, by sitting in front of my computer and hammering social media, I was able on my last campaign to get 170 something people to buy my book. I made $6,300 for that effort that I put in. I can't remember the last time I made that type of money at a convention.
Right.
You know, and it's like, and I didn't have to lug shit into a car or through the subway. I didn't have to like set up a table. I didn't have to worry about hotel rooms. I didn't have to worry about the whole travel, the whole taking the time out. You know, it's like, I didn't have to worry about that. So I was able to sit in my computer, hammer social media, and not only that, it's like have Nita and a whole bunch of people help me with it, you know, at their leisure, mind you, you know, and I was able, well, we, because in the end, it's a collective. I mean, it's like, you got to remember, I mean, even though it's like, it's your book, in the end, running a crowdfunder is a collective effort.
Right.
Because we need everybody to get together to help spread the word and everything. So it's not just about you.
But then, Marvy, the problem is somebody has to run that shit too. So we might as well stick with the platforms we have.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah. So for me, that's a more efficient use of my time running a Kickstarter. So Okay, would Eagle Raven have existed without crowdfunding? Oh, it was already. It was already,
Right.
you know, on my website. I wasn't really working on it that seriously. So if anything, crowdfunding helped me get my shit together with that book and gave me something to focus on that could have that had like real results that I could work with, as opposed to grinding along on each issue and then maybe having one or two people give a shit at a convention.
Right.
It's like, it's like ever since the demographics at conventions really changed from comic books to media.
Right.
Comic books have, I mean, it's like, at least for me, I know that's not the case for everybody.
It feels like comics took a backseat. You go
Yeah,
in and it's
it's a tougher sell to get people to want to experiment with independent books than it was in the past.
right.
Honestly, it's like there was just something about the 90s that really clicked for everybody. And a lot of independent people were able to I mean, mind you, a lot of
in
them.
the 2000s, we had our Asian invasion.
Yeah, exactly.
And for some reason, we couldn't embrace that as part of our culture too, and marry the two. We had to have this. You're either comics or manga, and just now you're starting to find that middle ground.
Right, exactly. It's like because back when we started, if you weren't Japanese and trying to do a manga, did you get shit on? And the thing is that when we were working for CPM, that was exactly, we were ahead of our time. We were one of the first American artists, Americans to be working on I guess like original Japanese content. And we were literally 1 or 2 years ahead of our time. But now it's like, now it's like, it's normal that it's like, you see everybody doing manga. It's like all over the world. So we probably would have to bring somebody in specifically about novels, because that's something that we were just talking about on Monday, because it's like, because that's something that I dabble in on both, it's like I dabble in novel writing, right? And the thing is, though, it's because I'm a little loath to call myself a writer, because every piece of writing I do is all Eagle Raven related. I don't do anything else but that. Like, if you gave me a prompt right now, I would only be able to make it work if it was Eagle Raven related. So I hesitate to call myself a writer for that, but I do have like the idea for like novels and whatnot, and hybrid novel comics and everything. And that's a whole other thing that I'm beginning to learn myself, as to like, okay, how do I market this? If my main market is comics, can I get them to read a prose novel? Can I get them to read an illustrated, an illustrated novel? So, but we definitely have to get somebody who's specific to novels to talk about that as well. But we'll see what we can do with that. So crowdfunding just turned into it's like, in the end, it's just a very efficient way of for me to use my time and create a book. So it's very efficient for me to create a book and to market it, and to have access to those direct sales, as opposed to going through a distributor, going through a middleman. Wow, Whisper Away. That's the Terry Smith Paul Kidd book from back in the day, right? Yeah. So it's like I kind of remember that. So yeah. So that's the thing. So that's the thing. So it's like, so when people ask, oh, do you depend too much on crowdfunders? It's like, well, as opposed to what?
Right.
Oh, actually, yeah. It's like, and we had Brian K. Morris, but we didn't ask him that specific question. So yeah, probably we should have him back and ask him about that. So whenever I hear somebody ask, do you depend too much on crowdfunders, my question would and that's fine. It's like the fact that I know what you're talking about means that we're on the same level here. We're the same old school. Because it's like, they're people, because like there's still people who think that crowdfunding is begging.
Yeah, there really are.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? To me, it always seems like it's those bastards that can't figure out how to gain an audience that talks about it being begging. And so who's begging? The guy that's going to go bankrupt himself trying to self-fucking publish a loan?
Right.
Or the guy who's going out there straight off the bat, like, hey, I need X amount of dollars to get this to point B.
Right. Yeah.
Help me.
Right.
And no.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like I remember one of the earlier arguments. It's like, oh, if you can raise money on your own, then you should be able to get a loan from a bank. Like, why would I want to do that? If I can get the money on my own, why would I need to get a bank involved? Again, the whole middleman. At least it's like,
thank you.
Right. Exactly. Like it's just kind of weird how they think that it's like, look, people support my Kickstarters and they get stuff in return. They're actually exchanging goods, exchanging currency for goods and services, So it's not like who's begging. I'm not begging. It's like, I'm actually selling you something.
Right.
I mean, let me put it to you like this. Whenever you watch TV and Coke runs an ad, is Coke begging?
Well, no, because Coke's to a point now they don't even have to run an ad. We're going to go get
right, exactly. Shit. But the thing is, though, it's like, how is it that when us as small marketers, when we market stuff, where they look at us like we're begging, but large companies spend billions of dollars on research and development just for the advertising alone, but that's not begging,
right?
So yeah, it's like, always watch out who's asking that question. It's like, because like I said, it's like, I'm at a point now, it's like when I hear those questions, I get little red flags waving. Right. It's like, oh,
biggest spat I ever had online was over that right there.
The biggest what?
The biggest spat I've ever had online. The only time I ever got myself involved in the Twitter trash was over some guy ragging people for Kickstarter. I've self-funded, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bro, but you're living in your mama's trailer. So what?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, it's like, I think that the question is disingenuous at best. I mean, because I've seen so many people ask it with that angle. Well, if you could do that, why can't you do it legitimately? Yes. And it's like, what does that mean? It's like, okay, mild devil's advocate. There are folks who are only on shows when they're selling things. Yeah, and it's true. That's true. There are certain aspects of promoting that that is annoying and tedious, and sometimes you have to kind of like really remember that just because you don't have a campaign doesn't mean that you stop talking to people. Right. That it's like it's like, but that's kind of like finding your balance between running a campaign and not running a campaign. And it's gotten, like, for me, it's gotten to a point where it's like I kind of understand JD's whole thing, about like having to run a campaign constantly, because if he's not running a campaign, he doesn't feel like he's working.
Right.
And I'm actually kind of beginning to feel like that, because it's like, oh snap, I gotta get the next campaign running, because it's like, you kind of end up on that treadmill and you want to keep that momentum. But I think the breaks are important also, just not just for yourself, because running campaigns it's work. It's work. No matter what people who, it's like you're doing just as much work as anybody who goes to a 9-to-5. And mind you, I don't even know why we still use the word 9-to-5 anymore, because nobody has a 9-to-5 job anymore. Usually it's like 8 to 6 or whatnot. It's like, And even then you still have to be on call, but that's a whole different thing. Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. And that's what crowdfunding does. It allows us, for me, that actually bigger than the money is the audience, is realizing that I could build an audience.
Right.
And see what that looks like directly.
Here at Ragin, we have several shows that would love to have you on, especially if you're not crowdfunding.
Right, yeah, because I think that in the end, right, exactly, yeah. It's like, we all have something to offer when we're not, yeah, it's like even when we're not crowdfunding. So like I said, it's like just because you're not crowdfunding doesn't mean you don't have to, you don't talk to people anymore, because part of marketing is making sure, especially nowadays, being online, being, on streams and getting, it's like part of it is like having people know who you are and getting to know you. I mean, as personally as they can get to know you.
Don't peek in our windows and don't crawl in bed with us when we're sleeping. That's
right. No,
weird.
that's weird. Yeah, it's like no, don't peek in the windows. We have House of Bob for that. now on, I think I figured out a regular schedule for House of Bob. It's going to be the last Saturday of every month. I think that might be a good schedule. There we go. Yes, House of Bob drawing night stream. Join me and Nita as we work on artwork and have conversations that is not fit for the day crowd. So so I think that the last Saturday of every month, that I think that's a good schedule. I think that's a good schedule for me. So then I don't have to keep guessing, oh, where would we with it? Look, whatever the last Saturday is, that's House of Bob. So so crowd, well, you see, that's the thing. It's like, look, being on shows and talking all the time, it's like, look, we're models for cringe. Okay. It's like, it's something you got to get used to. And sometimes you just have to accept the fact that you really do have to write little Post-its to remind you.
We are the epitome of cringe.
We are the cringe channel, the cringe vlog. So,
just the name is it's cringe worthy.
Yes, it's like, because it's awkward as us. And I think that's just something you just have to work through. The more shows you do, the better you get at it. And that's kind of just what it is. And I keep getting told that part of our appeal is the fact that we don't act for the camera. We don't, we're just talking. We're just I don't know, being ourselves, because it's like, if anything, probably when I first started doing vlogs and doing, like, you can see that on my YouTube channel. You go to the very first video where I'm talking, and I'm sure it's like, it's even more cringe than it is now.
Oh, I'll share some cringe later. I'll repost on my page my very first vlog.
Right. And it's just getting used to it. It's like, I think that probably have gotten more used to talking online, used to talking. I don't have to admit, it is kind of weird feeling like, even though I have Nita there and whatnot, it's like, it still feels like, who am I talking to, really?
Right.
That's still there. But I at least like to think that we didn't turn into characters. Right. Because I've seen that a lot. Yes. A lot of vloggers, that they literally turn into characters, and it's like, that's kind of, a weird thing to do. So yeah, like I said, that's I don't know. It's like, you know what? It's like,
flattery will get you everywhere, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say.
Turn red, yo.
Yeah, it's the I think that the hardest thing when it came to promotion, especially 2 years ago, the hardest hardest lesson that I had to, the hardest hump I had to get over was actually hearing myself say Eagle Raven out loud. I think that was like the hardest thing for me to get over. It's like, and talking about my book out loud, because up until that point, I never really did that. I mean, it even came to a point where it's like, oh, a lot of my names have to have, I need to put like a glossary or something, like a phonetic,
enunciation guide.
Yeah, an enunciation guide. Yeah, it's like I do have it on my website, because I've never said any of it out loud. And then all of a sudden, I had to write up all this marketing material that I had to read out loud on shows. And I realized, like, holy crap, I've never said these words out loud. I've never really said Eagle Raven out loud. I've never really said Edenron out loud. I've never said, like, a lot of the words that I use in Eagle Raven, I've never said out loud. So it's like, that was like the weirdest thing to have to get over, is now I kind of think that it's like, I'm kind of over it. Kind of. I mean, there's still some words that, ish. Yeah, you see, I think that's the real usage of the, fake it till you make it. Try to, I mean, well, yeah, I do get distracted. Yes. I think I told Nita that I probably do have like kind of like undiagnosed ADHD or something. That it's like either that or undiagnosed.
Oh, good. We're all special.
Yeah, everything's undiagnosed. So it's like I probably have that because I get distracted really easily. So I could talk about my book more, but then it's like someone has to bring something up that pisses me off. So where were we? Oh yeah, crowdfunders.
What? No.
What? So that's in the end. So crowdfunders, are we too dependent on crowdfunders, or is it just another tool that we use until something else comes along?
Right.
Because like, it's not like we're making these platforms. It's like we're literally waiting for these venture capitalists to get their shit together and make these platforms, for us to take advantage of. It's like we're not, so we can only use the tools that are offered, that are available to us and offered to us. If something better than Kickstarter comes along, trust me, we'll all use that too. But so that's what it is. So it's like, so people can say, right, exactly. You see, that's what I have to learn how to. That's how I have to learn how to pivot. So it's like, it's just another tool, and we either, and the thing is, and just because this could be a whole other conversation too, because it's like, just because you see somebody making a lot of money on Kickstarter, that doesn't mean that, maybe superficially it looks, they're making real money on Kickstarter. And it's like, but here's the thing though. You have to remember that it's like, we're making all this money on Kickstarter, but how much of an outlay are we putting out?
Right.
In order to get these books done?
Right.
And especially when you see more complicated Kickstarters, and especially if you're a person who has to pay out for everything.
And exactly. Especially if you're the writer that has to hire the penciler, the inker, the colorist,
right,
the printer. It goes on, and then you've got your stretch goals that you've got to cover. Yeah, shipping. Like, by the time it's all said and done, nobody's no.
Yeah, it's like, you'd be surprised at how much money people really do walk away with. Like, I mean, granted, it's like, okay, so like Brandon Sanderson raised $41 million. Like, so probably in the end, I mean, the guy is still walking away with a good chunk of change.
Oh, for sure.
After everything is said and done.
But that's the exception.
Right, exactly. But it's like when you have like smaller campaigns, and mind you, smaller campaigns can be a $20,000 campaign.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so it's like, and we've met, we've interviewed a lot of people who it's like, okay, so it's like that you're doing this campaign that's doing gangbusters and this, that, and the other thing. You're raising $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. But then you start thinking about, okay, so they have, all these variant covers. They have all these tchotchkes that, it's like they have, it's like they're the writer. So it's like, so the artwork has to be paid for, the colorists, the lettering. I mean, it's like, so in the end, it's like, so a $20,000 campaign could mean that, if you could be walking away with $5,000. I mean, it's like, okay, congratulations, you just made an average monthly salary, if not, the 2 months average salary, I mean, in one campaign. So that's a whole other thing too, that you have to consider, that just because a campaign looks successful, what's really the take home on that?
Yeah, because 90% of the time, the goal is the bare minimum.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because then you have this whole weird thing with marketing where it's like, with marketing on a crowdfunder, where you don't want to completely have your goal cover your cost, because then it looks a little too daunting, and then people won't support your campaign because like, oh, they're never going to make that much.
Right.
But at the same time, you still have all these people to feed. So it's kind of like, it's a whole game. So it's a game that has real consequences. So watch out for people who kind of like try to diminish that effort that you put on crowdfunding because they don't understand how it works. And that's usually what it is. Yeah, exactly. It's like they just see, it's like, oh, well, it's like, oh, are you, you're making all this money. So it's like, what do you need to do crowdfunders for? It's like, hello, I'm making this money because I'm doing crowdfunders. But again, it's just a tool. It's not that I'm dependent on it. It's just an efficient use of my time. Like I said, it's certainly, doing a crowdfunder is certainly more efficient for me personally than going to a convention. Like, no, go ahead.
I'm going to answer your question. That's because in comics, it all depends on who's you suck.
Right. I mean,
the rest of everything.
Right.
Else.
I mean, it depends on who you know. I mean, and that's the thing too. It depends on who you know, and and who's supporting you and whatnot. It's like there's a whole lot of variables when it comes to being successful. I guess in anything, it's like again, it's like that's why when you look at other crowdfunders, you have to be careful who you study. Because I know there's this whole thing, oh, I only want to study successful people. Well, here's the thing. Success doesn't leave a trail, but failure does.
Right.
It's like you want to study more of the middle ground people, and it's like, and even study the ones who didn't make it.
Especially the ones that didn't make it first, especially the good ones that don't make it. Because 90% of the time, if they're a really good campaign and it's got pretty art, looks like the story is going to be good, the lettering looks nice on the crowdfund crawl, there's a chance they made a rookie mistake of trying to ask for too much money, or they weren't out there promoting.
Right. So it's like, so you have to like really pay attention who you're studying. Because it's like, look, you can stare at Todd McFarlane's campaign all day long. You're not going to make that type of money, no matter what you do. Because you know why? Because you're not Todd McFarlane. You don't have that history that Todd McFarlane has. So studying his campaigns are actually kind of useless. Because Todd McFarlane, he's at a point where he could do anything and it'll be successful.
He's above you.
Right.
Wow.
So
reality.
you don't want to study. Like we keep
Mark.
So you have to say, so crowdfunding is a lot more than just, ooh, why are you doing that? No, it's an actual job. It's actual work to do a crowdfunder. It's exhausting. It's the reason why that whole after campaign,
to market it. I can't imagine being the one fulfilling it. And
no, for real.
Yeah, no.
Right. It's like that after campaign depression is real. It's like there is such a low you hit after a campaign ends that you really do need to spend a week kind of recovering from it. Especially if you've been like hammering at it for 3 months. And there are people who do that for 6 months. I mean, it's like, how? No way.
How the fuck do you do that? I'm exhausted.
The energy that it requires. So beware of people who ask you, are you dependent on crowdfunders? Because that just tells me that there's more, they're being more bitchy than curious.
Yes, but to study him now, Glenn, to use him as an example where you want to be, it's like, you're not a god.
Right. Yeah.
But you can be. You can reach that status.
But it's like, but that's the thing. It's like, so so that's the thing. Just, it's like, you study campaigns and you model what looks like, you model what looks like, look, we study campaigns all the time and we're always picking out little things that people do that it's like, oh, this could work, this could work, this could work, this could work. And so that's I mean, it's like really this conversation we could go on all sorts of different tangents, but I guess to go back to the original intent is watch out for people who ask disingenuous questions that are more to knock you down than it is because they're curious. Just be careful with that, because these are people, they just want to suck your energy,
right?
Because they, it's like they don't want to put in the work, or they don't want to do it, or they don't understand what you're doing. So instead of minding their business and letting you be, they want to suck that energy out of you, because they're trying to drag out, oh, you're doing something that makes them feel shitty about what they're doing. So they want to pull you down to their level. The whole crabs in a bucket thing. But as someone had said, I had read, we keep talking about crabs in a bucket as if a bucket is a crab's natural habitat. Because crabs in the wild don't do this shit, So remember, it's like that bucket is not your natural habitat. So you shouldn't be in a bucket.
So go home.
Yeah, go
home.
Go. So on this Friday, we'll end it on that note. Go home. Go home. Work on your crowdfunders. It's like study other crowdfunders, but be aware of certain things that have nothing to do with you. It's like just be aware of that. So on that note, that's all I got, Nita. How about you?
I'm good.
Yeah. So there we go. So I gotta go buy legs. An IKEA trip. So on that note, I just want to thank everybody joining us in the chat. In this thing, I see the 11 people are watching us. I don't know where you guys are watching us from, but thank you for watching us anyway. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat for joining in. It's like I said, I mean it when I say you guys are sexy and chatty. Both. We can be both here. And so I will be on, so you can catch me on Sketchy Saturday tomorrow with Mike Jimmy, with Marv. Also, they're going to have Rich Perota on. So we're going to have a good time tomorrow at 10 a.m. Sketchy Saturday. Hopefully I'll have my legs by then. My table will be set up a little bit more properly. Who knows? We'll see. So we'll be working on some stuff. I got plenty of stuff I got to work on. So there's always going to be something. So yeah, catch me there. You can catch us again on Monday at 11 a.m. We'll be back here starting your week with whatever nonsense you want us to talk about. So yeah, any last cards? Oh, it's any final cards? You can contact us at raginavc at gmail.com. If you have any questions, any comments, any ideas for the show, are there certain guests you want us to get on? Try to get on and interview. It's like I said, it's like novels is something that I'm curious about. So we'll probably try to get somebody to talk about that aspect of it. So, because in the end, we're all readers, right? So there shouldn't be a difference between comics and novels. But in the meantime, speaking of crowdfunding, we're in fulfillment phase now. So get 5% of your next Gemini mailer order with using our coupon code RAGIN2. Even at 5%, every bit helps, especially in this economy.
And be sure to catch Randy Zimmerman Sunday for Sunday Funnies.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's like, yeah, you can catch us. You'll be able to subscribe to Ragin 2, find your next favorite show to listen to. We have something going on. Yeah, we have something going on every day of the week. We got more coming, more craziness, more comic book nonsense. Yeah. So keep an eye out. Subscribe, hit the button, hit the bell, get notified whenever we upload. And on that note, as always, eat your food, mind your business, stay moisturized, and do the work, because when you do the work, you never have to fake your accomplishments. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday. What do you got, Nita?
Hit the button.
As always.